All right, who hasn't thought about the perfect place to live? I've lived in a couple that I would say were absolutely perfect. And I think that changes, right? I mean, it did for me anyway. When I first moved to San Francisco, I lived in the outer Richmond above a cafe called Simple Pleasures. And the place was just like fantastic. It was like that section of the city, which is where like the bay meets the ocean. You don't get a whole lot of travelers just passing through. So it becomes real neighborhoody. It was like Sesame Street, like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. All kinds of young people were like discovering this place. And the cafe that I lived above was like the central hub. So really great coffee. Great guy named Ahmed owned it and still does. If you're in San Francisco, stop in at Simple Pleasures Cafe. It's really cool. And at night, there's like acoustic music. My kids grew up, hearing stories about like the cafe monster who didn't go to bed on time, didn't eat right, which is why I was up rummaging around all night. It was actually Tony cleaning the place. Tony used to sleep in my garage when it was raining, or actually he slept in. He was homeless. I gave him a place to stay until he started vibing me about working in my garage. I'm like, yo, this is kind of my shop, right? Anyway, separate story. Yeah, you can't imagine anything better until you sort of, it gets kind of creepy because you got 50 of your bestest buddies at your door all the time. And you're like, well, these are my friends. I should be happy to see them. And I talked to another, Pat McGuire owns the Java Beach over on the beach. And it was funny, randomly, I moved across town to the beach. Was talking to him about the perils of like living above a social place, and I was like, "You can't imagine." He's like, "Yeah, I can't imagine. I own this place," and it's great. Naturally you want to see your friends, but it is like when you're sort of creeping out the back door because you don't want to see your friends. It really, it's a little bit challenging to me. I'm like, "What's wrong with me?" And I guess, Pat affirmed, "There's nothing wrong with you. You just don't always want to see your friends." And then here's the, I've eventually, now I live as a surfer living on the beach. You think to yourself, what could be better? It really is absolutely fantastic sometimes. I never would have imagined that, you could have too many friends. Now I've got too much surf. It's really crazy. I remember my friend Audie, who has this incredible view of Kelly's. I love that house. Like big picture windows, you just think, what could be better? And, when you're all like, especially when you're new at something like surfing, you're so amped, like, oh my God, freaking surf. And he made a reference and made some sort of comment that alluded to the idea that it was like not necessarily ideal. And I was like, can't even wrap my head around that. It's really funny, but when it comes to surfing, you get really stupid and righteous about like the whole, when you're a new surfer, like, waves. So they just couldn't, there was a handful of people that referenced surfing and, like it's too much. Which, funny enough now, I understand because I'm like living at the beach. Everybody, when you walk out and the surf's good, when you walk out your front door, everybody that's there with a surfboard is flipping stoked. They went to the beach specifically with the intention of surfing. So they're running across the ocean, running across the street like stoked to surf. And if you are not, it's kind of like, like it's tough to be a passive participant. Like, yeah, go have a good time. It's cool. I know it's going off. It really is, kind of reminds me, I went and saw a punk rock show here in Morro Bay the other day. And it's tough to be a passive participant. You're like, okay, the pit is freaking going wild. Everybody's slamming. And you're like, it's cool. I'm just here for the music. Like, being at the beach when the surf is going off, it's like, I think I'll just watch. So that's its own kind of weirdness. And funny enough, I found, I'm like, why is it I live on the beach and I'm surfing the fort? There's a place to surf by the Golden Gate Bridge. And I realized, because it's really nice, I put my board on my bicycle. By the time I get there, I'm awake. But when all you have to do is get up off your couch and walk across the street, you're like, what the heck's wrong with me? It's perfect. But you don't have that warm-up. And that brings me to another thing, which is really funny. The commute, like I live, I'm a designer contractor. I create exterior environments, inspiring and beautiful. And I've, kind of worked things down to where I'm primarily working on the west side of San Francisco. So I can take a skateboard to all my job sites. And you're like, that's perfect. I don't have to commute. I don't have to freaking drive to the beach or look for parking. And it is really ideal. And like, I don't even take my motorcycle out anymore. A friend of mine a while ago was like, wanting to take a motorcycle out. I was like, oh my God, I forgot I have a motorcycle. Because if you can stick it in the garage, like an automobile in San Francisco is more of a detriment than an asset. You're really stressing about it all the time. You know, there's like all kinds of things to stress about. Stolen, smash and grab, and street cleaner. It gives you like a start, a small heart attack. Every time you hear it, you're like, you know, tickets are now like $75 for a street cleaner. I used to have multiple vehicles I used to have everybody work directly for me. Now I subcontract. You're in my line of work, that's the way to go. But anyway, multiple vehicles. Like it could cost you. It's amazing what you spend. Parking tickets. Anyway, the short of it is, electric. That's a whole nother subject. Nice way to go. Electric skateboard. I mean, it's like snowboarding through the city. It's like snowboarding groom trails. It's not like you're going to be boosting off kickers, but snowboarding is fun. Snowboarding groom trails is really fun. And the electric bicycle. It just makes a hilly town like mine, makes it really enjoyable. Anyway, fact is, funny thing I'm finding is I'm staying with my girlfriend over in Oakland quite a bit. And I'm just laughing about the fact that it's almost easier to surf when I'm staying in Oakland. Bike to the ferry to the city, bike out to the beach. Like, you're so stoked by the time you get there. I mean, who knew? The other thing is the commute. It has there's something nice about that downtime. Like when your work is in your home, everything's right there. It's really weird. You don't have any downtime. Like, now, like if I leave from her place, by the time I get to the job site, I've seen the whole freaking city. It's beautiful. The ferry in San Francisco is really gorgeous. You get there, like I realized the other day, I don't think I was on the job site for more than half hour. That's all I needed. You know what I mean? You have a chat with the guys, make sure everybody's doing everything right. But by the end of the day, by the time I got back, I'm back to Oakland, I'm like, there was a full day. What'd you do today? Well, I worked all day. No, you worked for 30 minutes and you had a fantastic time traveling. Don't get me wrong. If you're driving, I think getting stuck on the bridge is probably going to be a serious buzzkill. Environmentally, it's not nice. It's not good for your health, anything. Now, I'm currently sitting in San Luis Obispo at the family home, which will be changing hands in the near future. And as far as perfect goes, this is interesting because this is one place that there's certain things like the Golden Gate Bridge I never get tired of looking at. This view out the back of this house, if we were going to, find perfect, I think it'd be hard to suggest that anything is more perfect than this. So, and the idea of I don't know, keeping after Dad's moving to a retirement home, like Airbnb, figure out a way to do it. The fact is, a fair bit of this is having parents around. As much as I love this view, it just wouldn't be the same without him. And they've got to pay for his new home anyway. But it sure has been fantastic from the day we moved in here. Wow. I've never lived here, but what a place to visit, Well played, Dad. Just had his 90th birthday party. Big hit. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. We're cooking